Alright fellas, now I've seen this man's name all over the press, all over Twitter, and all over YouTube as of late. From a place of obscurity, the man who's been dubbed Britain's Mike Tyson already, Moses Itauma is the man that people are talking about as the next big thing in heavyweight boxing coming from Britain. He is being compared to Mike Tyson mainly because of his age and his ambition to beat Tyson's record, yet his all-action style has also led to comparisons. So I want to take a comprehensive look at just how good he is, his style, his resume, and what could be in the future for the man who is dubbed Britain's Mike Tyson. So let's get right into it. Now, Itauma has been hyped through the press and through fellow YouTubers for several different reasons. And to start with, I want to talk about his current resume to understand what we are working with before we talk about if he's really any good. He was quite a decorated amateur, winning multiple national titles, representing England several times on the international scale, and even taking home gold for England at the European Youth Championships in 2022. He gained a name for himself through his impressive skill set, yet more so his power. Once he turned pro, he made his debut on the Better Be of Yard undercard against Marcel Bode with a knockout in just 23 seconds. This made great first impressions and was the sort of performance to help him burst onto the scene. What followed were a series of dominant performances against his next three opponents, which highlighted that power, but particularly his ability to drop opponents with his jab, while additionally his ability to be able to outpoint his opponents through the rounds. His next challenge came against 10-1 Banat. This was his first overseas fight, taking place on the Fury Ngannou undercard, and he showed out, getting his knockout in only 113 seconds. After a couple more first round knockouts against average sort of opponents, he would then verse Mezentsev for the WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight title. He continued his streak of knockouts by stopping him in the second round, winning himself his first decent regional belt. His most recent fight came against Mariusz Wach in July of this year. Wach had been around the block with a 38-10 record, and this would be a defense of Itauma's WBO Intercontinental title. Yet Wach's record might not be incredibly impressive. The one thing he was known for was his durability. Yet in style, Itauma stopped him just within 2 rounds. This being the fastest that Wach had been stopped in his whole career, helping his name all of a sudden shoot into the mouths of the press and many boxing fans. It should be noted though that Wach looked way past his prime and really looked like he was put there to lose. His resume of course isn't really something to write home about. He's on that traditional promoter's favourite let's keep our assets safe sort of path. Does that undermine his victories? No, of course not. Those early knockouts were very impressive, yet he hasn't been tested and I don't think we'll see that for a while. So how do we tell if he's actually any good? Well, let's talk about his style. He seems to have a solid foundation in both orthodox and southpaw stances, giving him the ability to switch seamlessly during fights. This ambidexterity, combined with his right hand power, makes his jab especially dangerous. Itauma often uses it to control the distance and set up powerful combinations, which he then follows up with a mix of body and headshots. While he also has pretty impressive hand speed for a heavyweight, his recent fights showed many of these things. Itauma's knockout power is one of his most talked about attributes. He has a remarkable ability to end fights early, often overwhelming his opponents with a large barrage of accurate and powerful punches. Despite his young age, Itauma displays a calm and composed demeanor both inside and outside the ring. He's unfazed by the prospect of facing top tier competition, and views sparring with champions like Tyson Fury as just another part of his development. His trainer Ben Davison praises Itauma's rapid progression and his hunger to learn, which Davison believes will be crucial as Itauma continues to step up in competition. Now, in terms of his weaknesses, he does have a few. His defense probably has the most issues. Although skill-wise, technically, he's a lot better than most of his competition at this lower level, but his defense does have a few glaring issues. He doesn't demonstrate the greatest head movement, often seeming to keep his head on the line, while also showing pretty limited defensive footwork. His lower guard, which is displayed in a few of his professional outings, may work for the moment against slower, similar sized opponents, yet when he steps up he may have a few issues. With that problem, he isn't the biggest heavyweight out there, and now that has shown not to be a big problem in the past for others, yet when you're standing right in front of his opponents, not really making any angles, and is a small heavyweight, he could end up on the end of a big knockout shot. Yet what we should remember is Itauma is only 19 years of age, and is already 10-0. He of course said he wanted to break Tyson's record of being the youngest to claim a heavyweight world title. Yet with all the belts being tied up and him only having about a year to do so, let's be real, this won't happen. In terms of the near future, I don't see Frank Warren rushing him into any top fights anytime soon. I think for the near future, he will continue to gain experience and build his name against lower level opposition, with a goal most likely to continue his knockout streak to help build that reputation even further. I think eventually he will slowly find himself against a top 15 opponent, and with Frank Warren's links to the Saudis, who basically run the heavyweight division at the moment, he is absolutely in the right position to eventually make a run at cracking the top level of world heavyweight boxing. Yet really, who knows what's in his future, and only time will tell. He's one of the more exciting international heavyweight prospects at the moment, and will continue to find himself on big cards if he continues the sort of performances he is currently putting on. All I can say is enjoy the rise. It's definitely worth tuning into. Now, I want to hear what you think about Britain's Mike Tyson. Let me know your thoughts down below and how he shapes up compared to some of your current favourite heavyweights. Please consider liking and subscribing if you did enjoy it, helps the channel massively. But thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.